Hello, everyone. Welcome to Who Wants to Be an MBA? This is Management 8113 Leadership Skills at Mississippi State University, and I'm your host, Parker Dorsey. Today, we're going to be quizzing our contestants who are also MBA students at Mississippi State. We have India Gilbert, Camille Bath, Hannah Smith, and Jason Bargett on a fascinating leadership topic, favoritism. So let's get started with our first question for all of our players. But how many of you have seen a quote unquote suck up or brown noser seem to get undeservedly ahead at work? All right, 10 points for everyone.
Yeah.
Next question for our players. In what popular television show does a character take up smoking in order to gain inroads with her new boss?
Got this one. So the show is Friends. In one episode, Rachel develops a hobby to take smoke breaks with her boss to try and get a chance to discuss more opportunities with her boss to get an advantage. However, her colleague is regularly doing this already. So basically, Rachel is unsuccessful in her advancement attempts, and she is also a victim of favoritism as her colleague was chosen over her. So studies show from the Fisher College of Business that 56% of executives admitted to having or a favorite candidate in internal promotion decisions. And studies also show that over 50% of American federal employees surveyed felt that their supervisors practice favoritism. In this case, Rachel was not the favorite, and her colleagues socialized with the boss regularly and received support for that reason.
Very well done. 10 points for India. Now, for our next question. If favoritism is so rampant among workplaces, does that mean these leaders are all unethical?
Yeah, this one.
All right, Hannah.
Not necessarily, Parker. Some studies, such as one by Palmero et al., suggest that favoritism in leadership relies on an instrumental exchange relationship or a view of self and interpretation of others. This exchange creates the context for mutual relationship expectations, how emotions are displayed by leaders and followers, and overall members' experience of their ongoing work. So it's not that these leaders are being unethical. Instead, it's more a perception of favoritism that arises from the ambiguity of a leader-member exchange.
Dead on. 10 points for Hannah. Next question here. Are there any cases where favoritism can be good for organizations?
Ooh, I've got one. So actually in a study published in the Journal of Value-Based Leadership, the authors argue that it can be different based on who's in an in-group and who's in the out-group. So these insiders have, they usually get better performance, they have better job satisfaction, the morale is higher, and this leads to a whole bunch of other things like they have a perceived close and special relationship with their managers, and when managers go to hire new people, they introduce them to these insiders, giving a positive spin on their work environment.
Interesting. 10 points for Camille. What are the negative organizational impacts of favoritism in the workplace? Who's got our next question here?
I got this one, Parker. So there are many negative impacts when favoritism is present in the workplace. According to the impact of favoritism on work groups, the first two areas that will be affected are the group's motivation as well as their morale. Both the motivation and morale being lowered will cause a dip in the performance as well. Anytime someone doesn't feel appreciated for what they're contributing, their performance will start to suffer.
Well done and very well put. 10 points to Jason. Now, everyone here has 20 points, so the game is currently tied. So for our final question, what are some practical steps leaders can do to avoid harmful favoritism practices? Remember, whoever answers this wins the game. All right, Hannah, let's go.
All right, Parker. According to an article in Harvard Business Review, leaders should ask a peer within the organization who works frequently with their team for candid input about whether or not the leader is actually treating their team members fairly. This peer is outside the leader-member exchange and can often see these scenarios more clearly than the leader themselves. Also, as a leader, you should be sure to divide up work equally, keep track of that work, and make sure that preferred assignments aren't always being handed out to the same individuals on your team.
All right, 10 points for Hannah. And that closes out today's show of Who Wants to Be an MBA? Our winner for today's show is Camille. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Sorry, Hannah.
Wait, I have more points than,
Sorry, you weren't the favorite. Favoritism is the name of the game on today's show. Maybe next time, instead of being a stranger, you should up your relationship to acquaintance level. All right, that'll do it for today's show of Who Wants to Be an MBA. This is Management 8113, Mississippi State University. And remember, you can tune into this show every Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. I'm your host, Parker Dorsey, and catch you next time.